The Indiana Fever just made the most expensive mistake in WNBA history. And before you hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you're gonna want to hear every word of this, let me tell you about the $11 million disaster that's about to blow up in their faces. While Caitlin Clark sits on the bench nursing another mysterious injury, her bank account just got fatter than the entire Fever payroll combined. But here's the part nobody's talking about. The real reason she keeps missing games might have nothing to do with her groin, and everything to do with what's happening behind closed doors in Indianapolis. Picture this: a 23-year-old rookie walks into your struggling franchise. Within months, she transforms your empty arena into a sold-out madhouse, turns your bargain bin TV ratings into primetime gold, and makes your team relevant for the first time in a decade. What do? If you're the Indiana Fever, apparently you bench her every chance you get and pray she doesn't notice other teams sliding into her DMs with blank checks. Let's talk numbers, because the math here is absolutely insane. Caitlin Clark, and write this down, is making $11 million this year. $11 million. But here's the kicker that'll make your jaw drop. Only $78,000 of that comes from actually playing basketball. That's right. Her WNBA salary is less than 1% of her total earnings. She makes more money from a single Instagram post than she does from an entire month of putting butts in Fever seats. Nike alone is paying her $28 million over 8 years. Gatorade, they're throwing money at her like she's the second coming of Michael Jordan. State Farm treats her like royalty, while the Fever treat her like she's lucky to be there. Wilson gave her a signature basketball collection. Panini, Lily, Hy-Vee, Xfinity, Gainbridge, they're all lining up with open wallets while the Fever can't even keep her healthy for more than 3 games in a row. And speaking of those injuries, isn't it convenient how Caitlin Clark, who never missed a single game in college, suddenly can't stay on the court? The same player who played through pain at Iowa, who showed up every single night for 4 straight years, is now mysteriously sidelined every few weeks with vague groin issues. The timing is suspicious, especially when you look at what happens every time she comes back. Remember when she returned from her latest injury stint? Shot 4 for 12 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. Her shooting percentage over the last 6 games made 29.5% overall, 14.3% from deep. But here's what they don't want you to focus on. She's still averaging over 9 assists per game during that slump. She's literally carrying the team on her back while shooting with one arm tied behind it, and what does she get? More bench time. Let me paint you a picture of how badly the Fever are fumbling this situation. A 55-year-old stalker just got sentenced to prison for sending Caitlin hundreds of threatening messages. The man was so obsessed he traveled to Indianapolis, claimed he was in an imaginary relationship with her, and forced her to change her appearance just to go out in public. You know what's crazier than that? The fact that even this psycho understands Caitlin's value better than Fever management does. The attendance numbers tell the whole story. When Caitlin plays, tickets are going for $200 on the secondary market. When she's out, they drop 40% overnight. 40%! That's not a dip, that's a financial nosedive. The All-Star Game in Indianapolis, her home arena, saw ticket prices crater from $121 to $72 the moment she announced she couldn't play. That's real money walking out the door, and it's all because the Fever can't figure out how to keep their golden goose healthy. But wait, it gets worse. Stephanie White, the new coach who was supposed to fix everything, seems more interested in teaching Caitlin patience than letting her play basketball. Just last week, there was that embarrassing moment where Caitlin sat in the coach's seat and White literally kicked her out of it. The symbolism was perfect. Know your place, rookie. Don't get too comfortable. We're in charge here, not you. White keeps talking about the big picture and Caitlin's long-term health. That's code for we're threatened by how big you've become. Think about it. Why would you need to manage the minutes of a 23-year-old who's in peak physical condition? Why would you constantly pull her from games when she's heating up? Why would you ask her to change her entire playing style when it's literally the reason people buy tickets? The most damaging part? While the Fever play these power games, Caitlin's building an empire that doesn't need them. She just got named All-Star Captain with over 1.2 million votes, more than any other player in the league. She's got endorsement deals that dwarf entire team payrolls. She could literally buy and sell half the WNBA if she wanted to. And here's the Fever, acting like they're doing her a favor by letting her warm their bench. I've got insider information that'll blow your mind. Multiple teams are already preparing cap space for 2027 when Caitlin becomes a free agent. The New York Liberty, They're ready to offer her the max plus every endorsement opportunity in Manhattan. Las Vegas? They'll roll out the red carpet and probably name a casino after her. Even international teams are sniffing around, ready to offer her contracts that would make NBA players jealous. But here's the nuclear bomb nobody's talking about. Caitlyn doesn't even need the WNBA anymore. Ice Cube already tried to steal her for the Big Three with a $5 million offer. European teams would pay her 7 figures just to practice. China would probably give her part ownership of a team. She's got more options than a Vegas buffet. And the Fever are treating her like she should be grateful for table scraps. The joke that everyone in the league is whispering? The Fever went from flying budget airlines where you pay for water to private jets overnight, all because of one player. And instead of protecting that player, they're playing games that would make a reality TV producer blush. It's like winning the lottery and then complaining about the taxes. You want to know how bad it's gotten? Players who shot 2 for 14 are getting praised for keeping their confidence, while Caitlyn gets lectured for taking 1 contested 3. Veterans who can't hit the ocean from the beach get the green light, while the best shooter in franchise history gets told to be patient. The double standard is so obvious, even the referees are embarrassed. Let me hit you with some truth that'll make you angry. The WNBA players make 9% of league revenue. 9%! The NBA players get 50%. Now that Caitlyn's driven merchandise sales up 500% and attendance up 40%, you'd think they'd want to keep her happy. Instead, they're doing everything possible to drive her away. The funniest part, and like and subscribe if you're laughing through the tears, is that Fever management thinks they have leverage here. They think Caitlyn needs them more than they need her. Meanwhile, she's got a net worth approaching $5 million at age 23, endorsement deals that'll set her up for life, and a fan base that would follow her to Antarctica if she decided to start a Penguin basketball league. Here's a stat that should terrify every Fever executive. When they polled fans about whether they'd still support the team if Caitlyn left, 86% said they'd pack their bags and follow her. 86%. That's not a fan base, that's a traveling army. These people bought Fever jerseys because of the name on the back, not the front. They don't care about Indianapolis. They care about Caitlyn. And before you think I'm exaggerating, let me tell you what happened in Connecticut when she played there in the playoffs. DeJounte Carrington literally hit her in the eye. Accidentally, of course. And when reporters asked about it, Carrington got defensive and the Sun organization tried to intimidate the media. That's the level of hatred and jealousy Caitlyn faces every single night, and her own team can't even pretend to have her back. The media coverage tells you everything. When Caitlyn plays, the games get over 1 million viewers. When she doesn't, they're lucky to crack 200,000. ESPN basically built their entire WNBA coverage around her. Social media engagement drops 70% when she's not on the court. She's not just a player, she's the entire marketing department. But here's where it gets really scary for the Fever. Sources close to Caitlyn's camp are saying she's already having second thoughts about her future in Indianapolis. The constant injuries, the weird coaching decisions, the lack of support from management, it's all adding up. She went from never missing a game to being the WNBA's most fragile superstar, and people around her are starting to ask questions. You know what the craziest part is? The Fever could fix this tomorrow. Fire everyone who doesn't understand what they have. Hire coaches who'll let Caitlyn be Caitlyn. Build the entire team around her instead of trying to force her into some outdated system. Give her the keys to the kingdom and watch the money roll in. But they won't, because ego is more important than economics in Indianapolis. The numbers don't lie, people. Cities that get transcendent talents like this either build dynasties or become cautionary tales. Right now, the Fever are speedrunning toward the second option. They're about to become the team that had Caitlyn Clark and lost her. The franchise that fumbled away the biggest star in women's basketball history. I'm hearing whispers. And remember where you heard this first, that Caitlyn's camp is already exploring options. Not for tomorrow, not for next year, but they're laying groundwork, building relationships with other markets, testing the waters on international opportunities, making sure that when the time comes, she's got somewhere to land that actually appreciates what she brings. The irony is delicious. The Fever spent years being irrelevant, playing in front of empty seats, begging for attention. Then Caitlyn Clark falls into their lap like a gift from the basketball gods. And what do? They treat her like she's the problem. Like her success is somehow bad for the team. Like having the most marketable player in the sport is a burden instead of a blessing. Here's my prediction, and screenshot this because I'm gonna be right. Within 2 years, Caitlin Clark will not be wearing a Fever jersey. She'll be in New York or Vegas or maybe even overseas, making triple what Indiana could ever offer and playing for people who actually want her to succeed. The Fever will go back to being a footnote, and all those fans who showed up for Caitlin will disappear faster than her jump shot when she's injured. The saddest part? This was all preventable. All the Fever had to do was not screw it up. That's it. Just let Caitlin be great, cash the checks, and build around her. Instead, they're writing a masterclass in how to destroy a golden opportunity. Business schools will study this disaster for decades. So here's the bottom line. And make sure you subscribe because this story is far from over. The Indiana Fever are about to learn what happens when you take a $100 million athlete and treat her like a minimum wage employee. They're about to discover what life looks like when the circus leaves town and takes all the ticket buyers with it. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the Indiana Fever. She never did. But for one brief, shining moment, they needed her. And instead of embracing it, they're pushing her out the door. When she's gone, and trust me, she will be gone, they'll have nobody to blame but themselves. The $11 million disaster isn't what Caitlin's making off the court. It's what the Fever are about to lose when she takes her talents, her fans, and her cultural impact somewhere that actually deserves her. Like this video if you think the Fever are making the biggest mistake in WNBA history. Subscribe to follow this story as it unfolds. And comment below where you think Caitlin should go when she finally escapes Indianapolis. Because at this point, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.